Hello everyone, this is Nebernan, and today we will be doing a video about my fire team for the Monotype hard mode challenge. So let's just jump right into things. Here is my team. We have Cinderace, Volcarona, Cerulege, Volcanion, Torkoal, and Tauros Blazeform. For this challenge, I decided to go for the no S ranks. So, as you might notice, Overpwn is missing, as well as Heatran, and that is because those two mons are the S-rank mons for Fire. So I decided to try and make a Fire team without any of these. And Fire had a lot of C ranks, so I was kind of interested in what I could possibly cook up here. And what I ended up with was pretty good. Or, not pretty good, but it was serviceable enough. I actually got this challenge pretty quickly, or I completed the challenge really quickly, as opposed to some of the other challenges. Like, compared to Ghost, this was significantly easier. A lot less games had to be performed in order for me to complete this challenge. But let's just go into why I picked what I picked. So Cinderace, very standard set, except I have a Zen Headbutt instead of a Court Change. This was actually a semi-last minute change because I had Torkoal on my team, and I thought, like, for whatever reason, I thought maybe it would be fine if I had both Court Change and Rapid Spin, but in practice, I found that it was just better having Rapid Spin only with just Torkoal. And I guess we'll just skip to Torkoal now, just so I can further explain it, but Torkoal is a very standard defensive set with Stealth Rock and Rapid Spin. I decided to go for it over Ninetales because I wanted that roll compression that Torkoal would give me. And also because I knew that I needed a lot more slots to help deal with some of the weaknesses that this team would have, most notably weaknesses to water, so I needed to have Volcanion on the team as a requirement. Although it could have been circumvented, but I definitely did not feel like having to play absurdly well or have to use Scovillain, God forbid. So I opted to go for Volcanion, who was already a decent mon on Fire, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But yes, Torkoal is here for roll compression, because it sets Sun, and it also access a Rapid Spinner, defensive Pokemon, and Stealth Rock Setter. So it just filled a lot of roles that I needed to get filled at the time. Now, back to Cinderace. So originally, Cinderace had Court Change, but I decided to get rid of it for Zen Headbutt to deal with to have better coverage. I was thinking about giving a Gunk Shot, since that's what's normally run on choice sets, but I figured Zen Headbutt would be better for the fighting type matchup, as well as making it easier to deal with poison types as well. So, like, this particular set does very well versus G-Weezing and similar Pokemon. But yeah. It also is a type that it can use with Libero. If he turns into a Psychic type, it makes it a lot easier to take a fighting hit in return. So I just thought that this would be a much better idea. Gunk Shot probably would still be good, but I just like Zen Headbutt a lot better. Also, it doesn't have a Gunk Shot's 80% accuracy. It has a 90 instead. But yeah, next mon. Volcarona, this is the standard Volcarona set. Nothing too fancy here. I was thinking about maybe dropping Morning Sun, but Morning Sun proved to be way too useful in testing, so I ended up keeping it. But yeah, nothing too remarkable about this set. Cerulege, very standard set as well, nothing too special here. The reason why I picked Cerulege and Volcarona was mainly due to Volcarona just being an extremely powerful win con. Even on Fire, it's very, very good. And the Volcarona spread is incredibly good as well. So having Volcarona just gave me like a surefire way to potentially just win a few games, because this mon is still really, really good when it gets going. Cerulege, similarly, is a very, very good wall breaker with Poltergeist and Bitterblade, although sometimes using Poltergeist is very rough, and people, especially against unburdened users. or other people that like to consume their item first thing. So this one, that con of the move actually did mess me up a few times, as well as the accuracy. But in general, this mon is pretty good. I actually almost won against a 1700s player with this mon, primarily, using one of the strongest teams in the meta at the moment. But unfortunately, I missed a Poltergeist, so we were unable to claim that victory. But it still shows that this mon and this team in general is actually pretty good. We have Volcanion. This is a standard set that I grabbed from the Spunk on Analysis. Sludge Bomb, Steam Eruption, Earth Power, Flamethrower, nothing too fancy here. Enough speed to outspeed a Sumaril from Fairy, as well as Water, if it gets used there. But yeah, nothing too spectacular here. I wanted to opt for Balloon, so I had another, so I had a ground immunity, but I ended up not going for it. Because the heavy duty boost just proved to be way too useful when it came to coming in on the field. Even with rapid spin support, I still found that it was just better to have heavy duty boots just on demand. Especially since it's going to be switching into water attacks a lot. So it wants to try and conserve as much HP as possible. So even if it's at like 13% HP and rocks are up and Torkoal's down, it can still come in and take a water attack if needed. But yeah, Volcanion was also borderline necessary since I wasn't going to have Ogre Pawn. So I needed something to help stifle the bleeding from water. We already discussed Torkoal, so we'll move on to the Spicy Mon that was picked here. Tauros Blaze. Or Paldean Tauros Blaze. Mouthful of a name, but I opted for a very strange set here. So I ended up making my own set. I didn't borrow this from anyone or anything. I ended up making a defensive Intimidate set with a Body Press, Will-O-Wisp, and Raging Bull, and Bulk Up. This essentially acts as a, not really a win condition, but it acts as a very, very hard switch-in for a majority of the physical attackers in this tier. It was specifically EV'd to deal with I believe, Cleavor, actually. But it ended up just being really good against a lot of other physical attackers as well, like Dragapult and Roaring Moon, for example. And you may be thinking, but even though it doesn't hit Dragapult, how's it check it that well? Well, it's because of Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp is just way too useful. And most Dragapult sets get genuinely ruined by a Will-O-Wisp unless it's a special attacking set. And I found that special attacking sets are not common in this generation, so in general, Will-O-Wisp will be good, and Intimidate just cuts their attack in general. And Tauros' defense stat is actually pretty good, considering it's 75% or 75 HP stat. 105 defense is actually not that bad, so it's actually considerably bulky when you invest into it, even without Intimidate. But with Intimidate, it's even better, because now you have the opportunity to switch into something, click Will-O-Wisp, cripple it, and then it allows Volcarona to come in and potentially sweep. But yeah. Body Press is there, since with Bulk Up it essentially acts as like a kind of soft win condition. It never ended up being like a hard win condition, but it definitely did threaten to sweep a couple of times, and it demanded answers. And Raging Bull, I wasn't sure what to put for the last move here. I wanted to put an ice move on here if it was possible, but this Pokemon does not get any ice moves or anything that hits a Gliscor or Landorus Therian, really. So I ended up opting for Raging Bull, which comes with a very nice side effect where it destroys screens. Destroying screens, especially for a type like Fire who doesn't have Defog, or doesn't really have a super good Defog user like a Moltres, or, well yeah, Moltres is a Defog user, but typically Fire doesn't like running Defog since it wants to either switch to hazards around with Cinderace or spin them with Torkoal. But yeah, Having a form of screens removal is just a very, very good quality of life thing to have, especially for just a standard stab move. It's a very nice thing to have. So if a Pokemon like Klefki on Steel or Fairy decides to set up screens, you can just send this thing immediately in, and it just instantly gives value. Same thing with Alolan Ninetales and